The monotonous rhythm of the rain tapped against the old window panes of the small apartment. Inside, Ethan was curled up on a worn armchair, his sorrowful gaze following the tears of the sky as they streamed down the glass. Today was like any other day in the string of days he felt adrift in life. That heavy, suffocating feeling, like a stone lodged in his chest, had become Ethan's familiar companion over the past years. He had once been a young man full of enthusiasm, with bright eyes burning with the fire of his passion for painting. Ethan's paintings captivated viewers with their vibrancy, their lively colors, and their free-spirited strokes. People said that his art held an entire world of emotions, a sensitive soul longing to be shared. But then, life struck like a sudden, strong gust of wind, sweeping everything away. The sudden passing of his beloved mother, his constant source of encouragement, left an irreplaceable void in Ethan. The overwhelming grief caused him to lose his creative spark. The colors in his paintings gradually became somber, and eventually he abandoned his passion altogether. He retreated into a shell of loneliness, closing his heart off to all relationships and opportunities. Ethan's current job was as a night librarian. He enjoyed the silence and darkness there. It helped him conceal the emptiness and sadness that gnawed at his soul. The towering bookshelves were like invisible walls separating him from the outside world. He hid among the old pages, seeking a fleeting comfort in the stories of others, but never daring to confront his own. Tonight, the library was quieter than usual. Only the steady drumming of the rain and the soft rustling of pages from a few rare readers broke the silence. Ethan sat behind the counter, his eyes lifelessly scanning the lines of text. Suddenly, an old blue-covered book fell from a high shelf. He bent down to pick it up, dust clinging to its spine. Curious, Ethan gently brushed off the dust and read the faded gold lettering, "The Unbroken Spirit." He opened the book. The first page held a black and white photograph of a woman with a radiant smile. Below the photo were the words, "For my dearest daughter Lily, never let your spirit be broken." An indescribable emotion welled up inside Ethan. He had never met Lily, but her resolute gaze and warm smile in the photograph seemed to touch a hidden corner of his heart. Ethan began to read the book. It was Lily's diary, chronicling her journey battling a serious illness. Lily's honest words, full of resilience and a thirst for life, captivated Ethan in a strange way. She didn't resent her fate. Instead, she found joy in the smallest things, cherishing every moment she had. He read about the pain that tormented Lily's body, the long sleepless nights, the silent tears. But above all, he sensed an extraordinary strength, an unwavering will that never surrendered. Lily wrote, "Life may take many things from me, but it cannot steal the unbroken spirit within me. I will fight until my last breath, not because I want to prolong my life, but because I want to live each moment I have to the fullest." Lily's words were like sharp arrows piercing Ethan's slumbering heart. He suddenly realized how much time he had wasted in escape and despair. He had allowed his grief to drown him, losing his passion and the meaning of life. Compared to what Lily had endured, his own difficulties seemed so small. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. The image of Lily with her radiant smile and resolute eyes haunted his thoughts. He tossed and turned, contemplating his life, what he had lost, and what he could still do. The next morning, as the first rays of sunlight filtered through the window frame, Ethan felt a distinct shift within him. The heavy, suffocating feeling seemed to have lessened somewhat. He looked at the dust-covered easel in the corner of the room, and an idea suddenly flashed in his mind. He arrived at the library earlier than usual. Finding Lily's diary again, he reread it, this time not with curiosity, but with deep empathy. He felt the powerful energy flowing through each word, urging him to stand up and make a change. After work, Ethan didn't return to his gloomy apartment. He went to a small art supply store nearby. It had been so long since he had set foot in such a place. The familiar smell of oil paint filled his nostrils, causing his heart to flutter slightly. He gazed at the vibrant tubes of color, the brushes of all sizes, feeling as if a part of his soul that had been dormant was slowly awakening. He bought a few basic colors, some brushes, and a blank canvas. When he returned home, he carefully wiped the dust off the easel. Placing the canvas on it, he stood still for a long time, looking at the endless white space before him. He didn't know what he would paint, but he felt a surge of emotion welling up inside. His hand trembled as he picked up a brush. The first strokes were hesitant, lacking confidence. But then, as the drops of color began to spread across the canvas, something miraculous happened. Memories, emotions that he thought had long been buried, suddenly surged forth powerfully. He painted his beloved mother, the beautiful memories, the pain of loss, the loneliness, and the fragile hope that had just begun to flicker. He painted with all his heart, no longer concerned with technique or composition. He simply let the flow of emotion guide his brush. Time seemed to stand still. The space around him vanished. Only he and the painting remained. A silent dialogue between his soul and the colors. In the following days, Ethan spent most of his free time painting. He researched more about Lily, her life, and her indomitable spirit. Lily's story became an endless source of inspiration for his paintings. He painted flowers reaching for the light in the storm, steadfast lighthouses amidst the vast ocean, eyes that held both sorrow and hope. Ethan's paintings gradually became vibrant and colorful again. Old friends, who had once admired his talent, began to notice the change in his new works. They were surprised and delighted to see the flame of passion within him rekindled. A close friend of Ethan's, Olivia, who owned a small art gallery, came to visit him. She quietly admired the paintings he was working on, her eyes filled with emotion. "Ethan," Olivia said, her voice choked with emotion, "these paintings, they truly touch the heart. You found yourself again." Ethan smiled faintly, a joy he had long lost shining in his eyes. "Perhaps," he said, "it's all thanks to a girl I've never met." Olivia encouraged Ethan to hold a small exhibition. Initially he hesitated, but Olivia's encouragement and his own yearning to share his emotions helped him overcome his fear. The day of the exhibition arrived, and Ethan felt incredibly nervous. He watched as strangers stopped in front of his paintings, their eyes attentive and full of emotion. An elderly woman approached him, her eyes glistening with tears. "Your paintings, they remind me of my daughter. She was just as strong and resilient." Ethan silently took her hand, feeling a deep connection. He knew that through his paintings, he had not only found himself again, but had also connected with other hearts. That night, after the exhibition ended, Ethan returned to his apartment. He looked at the first painting he had started after so many years. A painting still unfinished, but already containing all his pain and hope. He felt an unusual sense of peace within him. He opened Lily's diary, rereading her final words. "Never let your spirit be broken. Find the strength within yourself and live a meaningful life." Ethan nodded softly. He understood. He hadn't run away anymore. He had faced his grief, found inspiration from a stranger, and used his passion to heal the wounds in his soul. He knew that the road ahead might still hold difficulties, but he wouldn't be alone. Lily's unbroken spirit would forever be his guiding light, reminding him of the power of resilience and the beauty of life, no matter how fragile it might be. From that day on, Ethan continued to paint. Not only to satisfy his passion, but also to spread messages of hope and the will to live. His paintings became a source of inspiration for many, those facing hardships and challenges in their own lives. And Ethan, the young man who had once hidden in the darkness, finally found his own light. Not somewhere far away, but within his own heart. A heart awakened by the story of an indomitable spirit. He had learned that sometimes the greatest strength is not in running away, but in bravely facing and overcoming. The day he decided not to run away was also the day he truly began to live.